terror versus horror. To most people, they two different ways to say the same thing. What's terrible could also just as easily be called horrible. To most folks, the distinction separating them is semantics. But they're not the same, not at all. See, terror is the anticipation of something horrible. It's a feeling of dread that comes before the actual thing or event that causes it. Terror is the feeling gripping the city as a child murderer is on the loose, a sick bastard that's raping and killing kids and eluding police. The feeling every parent has somewhere in their gut as they leave their kids for school, daycare, or anywhere where you can't be next to them. Terror was what I thought in the midst of all of this when police detectives pulled up to the deli I've been working in the last couple of years, derisively known as the Dirtbag Deli to everyone in the neighborhood. Terror was realizing that whatever I was about to hear would no doubt be bad. When the detectives come, it's never good for nobody. But horror is witnessing or experiencing that which causes terror. A man falls into the lion pit at the zoo. Terror is knowing the lion hasn't eaten in days and is about to walk out. Horror is when he takes his first bite out of his human-shaped steak. Horror was what I felt strangling me as I listened to the police explain that my sister had been a victim of the monster that was terrorizing the city. I couldn't even process that she had apparently been spared being the next fatality by narrowly escaping his clutches as he became distracted. Horror was not being able to appreciate her escaping because all my mind could focus on was what she didn't escape. And as the detectives questioned me, the only thing I really heard was the scant details she was able to give them before lapsing into a sort of self-imposed state of catatonia and then transported to the University Hospital downtown. Apparently the piece of shit that did it wore a faded red New York Yankee baseball cap and had a tattoo of a scorpion encircling a globe. Only thing the poor girl could remember as she did her best to process the nightmare that had just robbed her of something she would never get back. And through it all, the quiet hawking frame of Mr. King just stood there as he had just arrived in his old van for making a important errand, as he put it. As the police left, he motioned to me in his own caveman way, said, "You home now, still paid." Never no more than 5 words, even as he did his best to show me some kind of caveman empathy. The next few weeks were a blur. My sister was released home to be watched by her auntie who had days free and collected Social Security. I'm still working at the deli. And even in the midst of all that, 2 more kids had gone missing on the east side. No one was safe and everyone was in a state of terror. And with no leads, everyone was a detective pointing fingers at anyone and everyone. And in my neighborhood, nobody looked any further than the quiet giant man that only smiled at kids and was never seen outside the vicinity of the deli. And I wasn't no different. I started questioning a lot of things about my employer. For starters, where was that important errand he had to run the day the detectives came past? What the hell was in the second freezer he always kept locked and forbid me from entering? It even got to the point I started wondering what he ate for lunch. Every day, same old black thermos and same deli sandwich on a hoagie and wax paper, except I never saw him make the sandwich, and I see him make at least 40 sandwiches a day, but never the one he ate for lunch. And as days turned to weeks and my sister still not talking, terror turned to sorrow and despair as the murders somehow ceased, with no arrest or leads. But horror was what I felt closing the deli one night, noticing the second freezer door open and a worn, frayed red Yankees cap sitting on the cold floor.
Hands on dance, Dirtbag Deli. Something smells.